Hi, I'm James McGuire, and on today's eSpeaks, we're talking about a subject that executives and managers around the world are now dealing with, which is how to get the most from generative AI. And at the same time, what's an effective strategy for agentic AI, which seems to be the fastest growing subsector of artificial intelligence? To discuss that, I'm joined by a major industry thought leader. With me is Surya Gummadi, EVP and President, Cognizant Americas. Surya, absolutely thrilled to have you with us today.
James, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Generative AI, obviously, we all know gets an enormous amount of buzz, and companies really want to get on board with it, but it's not always easy. It's very new. Even 2 years old, of course, ChatGPT debuted, I know exactly 2 years ago this month. Still, it feels very new, so much change. What would you advise companies that want to get on board more, but they want to use Gen AI more, but the cost is an issue, maybe the security is an issue? What is your sense?
Gen AI is the topic that is on top of everyone's mind today, undisputedly. And you're right. There was a lot of discussion on that in the last 2 years. So, around its regulatory aspects, ethics issues, security, and things like that. But you know what? Gen AI is one such technology disruption that we have seen in the recent past. In many ways, it has very high diffusion rates and low cost of deployment rates. What, what I mean by that is this technology can be diffused to end nodes very easily and can be deployed at a much lower cost. You don't need a whole lot of training to use the technology. You don't need a whole lot of resources, to be deployed to understand or make best use of this technology. Unlike the other technology disruptions, where there was heavy upfront cost to adopt this technology, you don't need that upfront cost, that heavy upfront cost. Of course, there is some amount of cost involved. That said, almost all enterprises across the planet will have their value chains disrupted using generative AI, period. Almost all enterprise, not almost, all the enterprises across the planet. So some will be the fast adopters of the technology, some will be the fast followers, and the fast adopters of the technology will have an advantage, and it would separate the winners versus the losers over a period of time. And this technology is very interesting. As you asked, at Cognizant, we partnered with Oxford Economics, and we did a research on this subject. And it came out that, in fact, we took about roughly 18,000 jobs, encompassing about 2,000 tasks or something like that. And we did research across the industries. It came out that almost 90% of jobs today will be impacted by this technology in some way or the other.
Right.
This technology is going to make those jobs more efficient, more better. And about roughly 10% of jobs will potentially be eliminated, and much more new jobs will be created. So in short, no one can escape this technology, escape this generative AI. And generative AI is going to be ubiquitous in many ways across the value chain.
The other really interesting thing is the idea of multi-agent AI or agentic AI. It's not just a chatbot, but actually it's agentic AI, as you know, is a virtual assistant that really becomes a digital colleague for workers. You can give it a task. It can do a number of series of tasks in a row. It really can be enormously functional. What is your thoughts on the adoption of this emerging technology? Any tips on strategy for companies?
This is the next evolution of this technology in many ways. Agentic AI is nothing but, as you rightly said, these are AI-enabled robots that execute human-like tasks. And there are almost all the platforms today have agents sitting on top of it, orchestrating the tasks across these platforms to deliver much faster, better, and efficient outcomes. And this technology is going to explode. So in fact, we at Cognizant have invested in an orchestration platform for this agentic AI. What it does, we call that as last mile infrastructure, because today you have different set of AI tools such as data platforms, applications, and things like that. The Cognizant platform sits on the top and orchestrates across these AI resources for faster deployment of AI and helps agents orchestrate across the different platforms in the enterprise. So I think, agentification is gonna rapidly expand, in my opinion, over the next 3 or 4 quarters across the enterprises. And today we are seeing almost all the major ERP software and other applications coming with agents already. Right? It's already there. It's just that we have to deploy with the right data sets, and then we have to create an orchestration framework across these agents.
So clearly, Cognizant is playing a role in the platform you mentioned. Really sounds highly functional. What might be, say, a problem that sometimes companies run into with deploying agentic AI? Like it doesn't work properly, or it doesn't give the functionality, or what's a headache to the extent companies might run into that with that technology?
I mean, see, the use cases that could be this technology could be deployed across wide variety of use cases. So since this technology is still evolving, emerging, and new, so we completely don't know the ramifications of it. It's like AI. I mean, it's like AI. AI could be deployed for good, and AI could be deployed otherwise too. So same thing for agentification. And if we use agentification for bad means, the outcomes could be disastrous. That is one element of it. And it applies. I mean, the same thing that applies to AI applies to agents too. I don't see a big difference in that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. So if we look ahead, and if you think, say, 2025, 2026, your forecast for some near-term developments in Gen AI and agentic AI. I mean, how can companies be getting ready for it now?
So the talent is going to be very key. So we will have to have the right talent strategy to be able to leverage these technologies and create the agentification framework across, and get the best get the best benefits from this technology and the agents architecture and framework. So talent is going to be extremely key. Almost all companies will have to double click on their talent strategy and make sure they have the right resources available to to leverage this technology at the right time. And beyond that, I mean, almost all the enterprises across the planet are looking at their value chains, to analyzing their value chains and optimizing their value chains. Once they analyze and optimize, then they are trying to deploy these technologies on the optimized value chain to get the better benefits from this. So I think across, I think it's going to be the same: analyze, optimize, and deploy the technology, and make sure you have right talent and right resources.
Mm-hmm. I think that the talent piece, there's no doubt that's going to be a real issue. I think the talent for the short-term release will continue to be expensive.
Yeah.
Surya, a last thought before we go. I know we're short on time, but I want to make sure I get your key thoughts about agentic AI and Gen AI.
I mean, I'm very excited about this technology. I'm excited about the possibilities that AI or Gen AI and agentic AI could, embrace. And this technology disruption, in many ways, is going to be a social equalizer based on our research. It is going to, the people who are highly productive will get less benefited from these technologies, and the people who are less productive will get more benefited from these technologies, because this AI or Gen AI or agents are going to help enhance the overall productivity of the ecosystem. So I think, this whole humanity and the world would get benefited from these technologies if deployed in the right way over the next 4 to 5 years. I think this is exciting times ahead, probably the best technology disruptions of our lifetime in many ways.
Great. I love that. I love that thought about the productivity. I think it's a really interesting, fascinating thought. So yeah, I think you said it. Thank you so much for sharing expertise, and please do come back and talk with us again sometime.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Bye.